I used to weigh 367 pounds. Today I weigh about 145 pounds. I used to go through my day. It was pretty much on autopilot. I would wake up at a certain time. I would go to work at a certain time. When 11 o'clock rolled around on the clock, I'd get in the car. I'd go drive to the Chinese buffet at the restaurant. I'd go eat the Chinese food. I'd pig out. I get big. Now I'd go back to work and get my work done. And I'd go home. I'd sit on my butt. I'd eat dinner. I'd watch some TV. And then I'd get up the next day and do it over again, over again, over again, and over again. It's, we fall into patterns in our lives. And patterns can be very powerful or patterns can be very disabling. It depends on whether or not the pattern is having you do something that's good for you or having you do something that's bad for you. Let me expand upon my example. As I was getting ready to turn 50 years old, which that may seem like a long way away for someone like you, but as I was getting ready to turn 50 years old, I was on autopilot. I was 320 pounds at the time. I hadn't had a heart attack yet, hadn't had a stroke yet, but I asked myself, where am I going to be in 5 years if I keep going the way I'm going? In other words, on autopilot. And the answer was dead. And I didn't want to be dead. So I said, something needs to change. Right then and there, I turned to my wife. I said, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm done. I'm done playing this game. I am wasting my potential. I can be so much more than who I am. Time to go make it happen. So I said, I'm going to start eating better, learning to eat better right now. I'm going to start learning to exercise every day if my body can hold up to it right now. And my exercise of choice is going to be walking. I picked walking because I figured you didn't need a lot of special equipment. You could do it almost anywhere you wanted to go. I figured it would beat my body up less than other forms of exercise. And now 17 years later, I can tell you I was right. But so I said, okay, I didn't use the term autopilot at the time, but looking back at it, I was on autopilot. So instead, I said, what do I need to do to get from where I am to where I want to be? I took personal responsibility. I didn't blame anybody else. And while I was at it, I didn't even blame myself. I just said, what I need to do to fix it. And then am I going to go fix it? That's all it is. Because when we start blaming and feeling guilty and all this other crap, that just gets in the way and that starts messing with our heads. And that's no good. So I said, okay. I immediately quit drinking alcohol. I was drinking scotch every day. And I said, the scotch does not serve me. I serve it. So I said, no more alcohol. Quit it. Haven't had it in 17 years. Don't miss it. Those 2-liter bottles of soda pop, I was drinking 3 of those a day. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I quit those. And I made a few other changes as well. And then I started walking. I started doing it. Now, in the beginning, when you're trying to break autopilot habits, autopilot is just think of it as your habits. And are they good habits or are they bad habits? In my case, most of my habits, not all of them. I mean, going to work was a good habit. Getting my bills paid was a good habit. Taking care of my wife and family was a good habit. Those were good things. But a lot of the other things I was doing were bad things. So it's all about analyzing your habits. And if you have a bad habit, breaking it right then and there. So first of all, you have to identify it as a bad habit. You have to realize it's a bad habit, but then breaking it. And then saying to yourself, these are some new habits I should put in their place, like eating better every day, eating good food, making sure when I go to the grocery store, I only buy good, healthy food. I don't buy crap. Making sure I don't go to Burger King, McDonald's, anywhere else and eating that crap. So, and then walking every day. So it's about identifying your habits and changing your habits. And as you start forming new habits, your days stop blurring together. Each day is a new day. It's not the same thing as the day before. And you start consciously choosing what you want to do as opposed to unconsciously doing what you've always done before.